Thank you for joining us in remembering your loved one. We know that in addition to your grief you have endured, you've also had to navigate the pandemic in ways that's impacted your ability to honor, gather, and receive support. We want you to know, at Hospice of the Piedmont, we continue to hold you in our hearts. On behalf of all of us, we hope that you're comforted by the poems, reflections, music, sentiment, and art we have put together in this video. May you continue to heal and hope for brighter days ahead.
Hello, my name is Denise Vogt, and I'm one of the chaplains here at Hospice of the Piedmont. And today I'd like to pray a prayer. It's the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, and it's one of my favorite prayers that I pray often, personally, myself in my own life, because it reminds me that in a world full of uncertainty and unrest, we need peace. But not only do we need peace, we need to be instruments of peace to our families, to our community, and to our world. So would you pray with me today as I pray this prayer of St. Francis? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Amen.
Hi, I'm Rachel Palm, Marketing Specialist for Hospice of the Piedmont.
And I'm Mandy Hinkler, Team Coordinator for Hospice of the Piedmont and Piedmont Care.
At the rising of the sun and as it's going down,
We remember them.
at the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter,
We remember them.
at the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring,
We remember them.
at the blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer,
We remember them.
at the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn,
We remember them.
at the beginning of the year and when it ends.
We remember them.
As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
When we are weary and in need of strength,
We remember them.
when we are lost and sick at heart,
We remember them.
when we have joy we crave to share,
We remember them.
when we have decisions that are difficult to make,
We remember them.
when we have achievements that are based on theirs.
We remember them.
As long as we live, they too will live,
for they are now a part of us as we remember them.
Hello, I'm Chaplain Hina Ryder. Thank you for being here. I'm grateful for this time we have together. You have experienced grief during the past year, during the COVID-19 pandemic. Grief is a natural response. It's a natural human response during or after a traumatic event, a disaster, the death of a loved one, or even the death of someone you don't love, but whose death has meaning for you. You may not have been able to mourn their death in person with family members and friends. You may not have been able to do those things that ordinarily would give you comfort, a sense of stability and well-being. Some of you may have also experienced other traumas during the past year. You may have lost your job or struggled financially. You may have dealt with complex family, childcare, or other personal issues. When multiple losses happen at the same time, it can complicate or prolong grief. Complicated grief can interfere with or delay your ability to mourn. Mourning is the healing and recovery process from grief. So, what does the natural human response known as grief sound and look like? I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this happened. How am I going to cope? What's going to happen now? It's just one thing after another. I can't take it anymore. Nothing is going right. I'm so irritable, I could scream. I'm lashing out at people. I'm constantly criticizing myself. Everyone is making me crazy. It seems like the world is out to get me. People around you may notice other changes, or you may observe them yourself. Crying, feeling sad, not able to enjoy the things you used to enjoy. You don't feel like eating, or you're not sleeping well. You may feel confused and overwhelmed. Life may have lost its meaning. If you usually have a sense of spiritual connection, it might be changed or even absent. All of these are natural responses and expressions of grief. And as you can see, grief affects the whole body, the mind, emotions, relationships, your spiritual life, and sense of meaning. I laid this out in stark terms because grief can be intense. And we at Hospice of the Piedmont want you to know that if you have been feeling these kinds of things, you are not going crazy. It's grief. The next part of this talk is about how grief can be integrated into your life and your sense of who you are. Grief is not something to leave behind, avoid, or get rid of. It's an important expression of human life, and like a rug being weaved by multiple weavers, when the wrong color is weaved in, it's left there and becomes part of the beauty of the tapestry, of the rug. Grief, when it's mourned fully, becomes a source of beauty. When I mourned my mother's death, I discovered a peace of mind and a peace of heart that I didn't know was possible. It took a long time, and it was a lot of work. I would like to share with you what I learned so that it might make your mourning process easier. First, I invite you to consider the possibility that you can set for yourself a course of and toward peace of heart and peace of mind. Your desire to do this is important and useful. Now, you may or may not believe that you have an inner course of and toward peace. So ask yourself this question: am I willing to consider the possibility that I can set a course of and toward peace of mind and heart? And if you think, no, I don't think I can do that, then ask yourself this question. Am I willing to be willing to consider that I might be able to set a course of and toward peace of heart and mind? If you know that you already have this course within yourself set for peace, and or you answered yes to those questions, are you willing or willing to be willing to consider setting such a course in yourself? Then you are or will be able to integrate grief into the wholeness of your being, into your whole self. How does this work practically? You affirm this commitment, your desire to set a course of and toward peace for yourself. And then the first thing you notice is how many obstacles there are. That's okay. Noticing the obstacles is part of the process. The obstacles, although they may seem to be outside of yourself, nearly always include things like this: anxiety, distress, irritability, anger, sadness, sorrow, mental confusion, overwhelm, or perhaps an effort to avoid dealing with the feelings and even engaging in unhealthy behaviors. Sound familiar? Sound like grief? It is. It's a lot like grief. The challenges in life, all of the emotions that come up as a result of them, are the result or cause of loss. They trigger a sense of loss. I can remember being in college when I was in nursing school, and I was being taught about loss and grief, and the teacher said, even missing the bus is a loss. We react to that as we would to any loss. Of course, it's a minor loss. You may have another question. Doesn't everyone need to grieve in their own way? What's wrong with keeping busy? Isn't that a way that some people deal with their grief? Yes, it is. People who find peace through activities should be respected. What I'm talking about is about those who wish to find inner peace and healing, as well as outer peace. So what do we do with the obstacles? These obstacles that appear can be reimagined, instead of as obstacles, as stepping stones. Each time one comes up, you can remember your desire to be on a course toward and of peace. This is not about covering up the feelings with superficial peace. Rather, it's an opportunity to stay with the feeling that's come up. Be curious about it. Breathe into it and ask yourself, what am I experiencing? Then pause, allowing yourself to wait a moment. What would help me to feel whole in this moment? In addition to being curious, you can use your feeling imagination. The feeling imagination is when my feelings and my thoughts work together. We all do it all the time. For example, when we worry, we anticipate that something bad is going to happen. That's a feeling of anxiety matched with a thought about the future. In this case, use the feeling imagination to see yourself as someone who's on a course of and toward peace. So you could ask yourself, what do you need? Do you need to breathe quietly? Do you need to call a friend or pray for a moment or longer? Maybe you want to meditate. Maybe you want to take some time to really feel the loss of your sister or brother or mother or father or daughter or son or friend who died. Just to feel the feeling. You can also welcome resources into your life that may be available to you, professional resources or otherwise. Allow yourself to unexpectedly stumble across something that might help you, like a book falling off a shelf into your hand. Oh, this is just the book I need to be reading. An obstacle, when welcomed, becomes a stepping stone. If you welcome the healing, if you desire to move toward peace and of heart and mind, then grief allows the mourning process to happen, and mourning leads to the healing and recovery process that allows peace of heart and mind to grow. The most important part of recovering from grief is allowing the mourning process to occur. Being willing to let yourself desire to set and be on a course of and toward peace as often as you need to recommit to it creates your very own course of and toward peace. May you be blessed to find your path of and toward peace of heart and peace of mind, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, year by year, throughout your whole life. Thank you.
I'm Melanie Mason, social worker with Hospice of the Piedmont, and I have an affirmation for those who have lost by James E. Miller. I believe there's no denying it. It hurts to lose. It hurts to lose a cherished relationship with another or a significant part of one's own self. It can hurt to lose that which has united one with the past or that which has beckoned one into the future. It is painful to feel diminished or abandoned, to be left behind or left alone. Yet I believe there's more to losing than just the hurt and the pain, for there are other experiences that loss can call forth. I believe that courage often appears, however quietly it is expressed, however easily it goes unnoticed by others. The courage to be strong enough to surrender, the fortitude to be firm enough to be flexible. I believe a time of loss can be a time of learning unlike any other, and that it can teach some of life's most valuable lessons. In the act of losing, there is something to be found. In the act of letting go, there is something to be grasped. In the act of saying goodbye, there is a hello to be heard. For I believe living with loss is about beginnings as well as endings. And grieving is a matter of life more than death. And growing is a matter of mind and heart and soul more than body. And loving is a matter of eternity more than time. Finally, I believe in the promising paradoxes of loss. In the midst of darkness, there can come great light. At the bottom of despair, there can appear a great hope. And deep within loneliness, there can dwell a great love. I believe these things because others have shown the way. Others who have lost and then have grown through their losing. Others who have suffered and then found new meaning. So I know I am not alone. I am accompanied day after night, night after day.
Dog makes me feel hopeful. My cat makes me feel happy. My dog makes me feel calm when I rub her with my palm. Animals are our great furry hope. outside I hear the birds, watching the fish swim around. Lions are cool with their manes, and bunnies are really cute. Animals are our great furry hope. Wolves have lots of fur. Cheetahs are really fast. Turtles are really slow. And dolphins are intelligent. Animals are our great furry hope. Robins are fun to watch. An ocelot is a spotted cat. Jaguars are cool cats. And tigers have cool stripes. Animals are our great furry hope. Animals are our great furry hope.
I'm Bob Pearson, Coordinator of Veterans Services and the We Honor Veterans program for Hospice of the Piedmont. On this solemn occasion of remembrance, I want to express how privileged and proud I am to be part of a special team that embraces Hospice of the Piedmont's mission while serving our region's veterans and their families. We have cared for veterans that served during many wars and conflicts, as well as those veterans who helped maintain our security during peacetime. These veterans shared a common bond of honor, service, and sacrifice for which we will be forever grateful. Former President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, composed some words that we can all carry with us as we remember the veterans we've lost. Some people live an entire lifetime and wonder if they've ever made a difference in the world. A veteran doesn't have that problem. We will honor the memories of these veterans by continuing to serve those who have selflessly served us.
Hello, I'm Rennie Bond, one of the bereavement counselors, and I'm here today to introduce you to our ritual which honors our recently deceased patients and their families. Now, the dictionary defines a ritual as a solemn ceremony, and our ritual is that, but it's also a celebration of the lives of our patients, and therefore there are bright, wonderful moments and even a lot of laughter. Now, the ritual changes every year, and this year it has been entitled Word Art. It occurs at the weekly meetings of our interdisciplinary team. This team meets in order to review the treatment and the plan of care of all of our patients under our care. That would be current patients and then those also who have died recently. The team consists of everyone who has worked with those patients and their families. So that might be aides, nurses, doctors, social workers, chaplains, the bereavement staff. Oh yes, and not in COVID years, but volunteers are invited too. The chaplain begins the meeting by introducing those who have died in the past week or two since we have met. The team then reviews bits of the life and death of that patient. And this year, with the theme being word art, the team comes up with all the words that they can think of which describes their patients and what those patients have meant for them. This, of course, can mean a lot of words, so it gets winnowed down to 1 to 3 words which seem most meaningful and most essential for our beliefs or our descriptions of the patients. So those words are copied onto cards, and then they are posted, well, I like to say planted, in trees that we have drawn. So the words and the trees then become our word art. And that's how we say goodbye to our patients and their families. The word art is preserved in the Hospice of the Piedmont offices for as long as we can keep them. And I want to add that honoring our patients and their families can be very important for us as a staff too. We can develop very close and caring relationships with those patients and families, and their loss can cause great feelings of grief. So when we remember and honor and celebrate their lives, it helps us with our grieving that loss. So with that said, here is our word art.
Hello, my name is Craig Wilt, and I'm one of the bereavement counselors at Hospice of the Piedmont. If you joined us because you lost somebody special and you wanted to celebrate and honor that person's memory, know that we all have something in common. Namely, we all love deeply and we all hurt deeply because we no longer enjoy the physical presence of someone whom we loved. And as we seek meaning in life without those whom we loved and continue to love, as we strive for comfort and peace, and as we look to future's promise, it is very good that we are present with each other, if only virtually. For together, we can find the inner strength that comes when we share something deep and meaningful with others who have also experienced the death of someone they love. When we experience a death, we sometimes think that no one could have felt this kind of sorrow. And yet, we all came here to this memorial service together. We came here together because we have all loved and lost someone, and we are coping with the many adjustments and challenges that brings. And that means we are not alone. So whatever it is you are feeling right now, just acknowledge it and allow it to be. You've been through a lot. Love is all around you in the disguise of all these feelings. And you have these feelings because you love so deeply. Let us recognize that we do not hurt alone. Death and grief are powerful. But let us hold fast to the assurance that life and love are even more powerful. So let us continue to move forward as we recall and reflect on the life and the love and the cherished memories of our loved ones and how they lived and changed our lives just by their being. On behalf of the entire staff at Hospice of the Piedmont, thank you for visiting our virtual memorial service today.
Down in the valley, there's a deep blue river, and up against the river, there's a maple tree. On the branch of the maple, there sits a songbird. The songbird is singing for you and for me. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Out in the meadow, there's a stiff breeze a-blowing. It carries the jaybird on back to his home. Jaybird, won't you tell me where I can find him? Oh, the stiff breeze to blow me down to the Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me high, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me high, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. And up on a mountain in Western Virginia, my baby is waiting impatiently. And up on a mountain, there's a new day rising. The songbird tells the story of all he can see. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing me high and sing me low, sing me when the cold wind blows, in the rain and in the snow. Sing to me all Shenandoah. Sing to me all Shenandoah.